Beck and her colleagues say if we really want the words to stick, we've got to teach for depth of understanding. So their whole 8 steps for teaching vocabulary are listed right here. And typically, in typical instruction, we stop after step 2. We do 1 and 2, and maybe we do 4. So we will give the students a definition for the word, and we're going to talk about what a student-friendly definition is. And we give them examples. We usually don't give the non-examples, but for our L students, understanding that the word is this, but it's not this, can be really, really helpful. And then we often will maybe discuss, pull in a little background knowledge, but we stop the process right there usually. So if we want the words to really stick, we've got to go down into checking for understanding, which means that they've got to say it and write it so that we know whether they're understanding it or not. They've got to have some guided practice, some purposeful opportunities to use the word. They've got to have multiple exposures and discuss it in context if we want depth of learning. So let's create a student-friendly definition. Here I've got a word that I might be teaching, and the word is dictate. Dictate could be a level 2 word that's fairly sophisticated, but occurs across contexts. And so first, to create that definition, I have to characterize the word and think, now how do we use this word specifically in our language? If I'm going to explain it well, I need to do that. So often, we do this a lot as teachers. We offer explanations or definitions of words, but sometimes if we don't give it some purposeful thought or planning, and you might have found yourself in this situation, we're defining a word, and then we have to define the words that we use to define the word, then we have to define the words that we're using to define the word that we're really trying to get at, if we don't stop and think about what will make our students understand this word. How can I explain it in a way that they will understand? ELL experts call that giving comprehensible input. So if we're going to teach a word, we've got to teach it in a way that's comprehensible, okay? So I want to characterize it, which means I want to explain the meaning in everyday language that my students will understand. Then I want to give them an example and a non-example, discuss, pull in background knowledge, and give them some opportunities to use the word. So here's the word dictate. Dictate has actually 2 definitions. So this is a multi-meaning word, which is another category of words that often give our L's difficulty. So the first one is to say or read aloud something to be written down by a person or recorded by a machine. Like I might dictate a statement to the police if I have witnessed a crime. Okay? And it also means to prescribe authoritatively or command unconditionally. Well, that's a definition where I would have to define the words that I use to define the word, because that is a definition that's packed with difficult words. So, I might try one of these 2 that I've written here. Dictate means to say something out loud so that another person can write it down. I would give an example of dictating a story in class and the teacher writing it down. I might give an example of dictating a statement of what I saw if I witnessed a crime and the police came to my house to find out what happened, and then I might give a non-example, and so there's our first few steps, and then discuss and pull in background knowledge.